I'm also playing a little bit of Samurai Shodown here and there for only brief periods of time, for as long as I can tolerate the online. And
Just play rank. God.
huh?
Just play rank.
I try.
That's
I do play rank, but the netcode kind of sucks too. And
fair.
that's kind of what I want to start off on the first topic about Samurai Shodown online rant, because I mean, the game is great. I love the mechanics. It's great. I love the system that they put in there, and I love the pacing of the matches. What I cannot tolerate is how poorly designed the netcode is, as well as the online lobby system. So let's put it like this: the lobby system is set up for you enter the room or you set it up, and setting it up is pretty basic. Pretty much, you just set your parameters, players, private mode, whatever. Um,
Mm-hmm.
they have two bars when you enter the room. The top bar is all the people that join the lobby. You have two boxes in the center, which is, the people who select a box and they hit X, and then they're in the match. Then you have a bar on the bottom, which is for spectating. You have to highlight if you want to watch a match. You have to get down there and highlight or hit a box before the match starts. And the match starts like literally like right away when two people fill those boxes, those two center boxes. So if those two center boxes are filled, the match has started. You can't watch shit even if you try to highlight the boxes on the bottom. And for me, when I stream this, it's a fucking nightmare. I have to literally plug in my USB headphone into the PlayStation and scream at these people like, "Hey, I'm fucking trying to stream this game. Notice the fact that the title of the room is my stream channel.
Mm.
How about you give me a second to get into the spectator slot, you motherfuckers?" And it's like these people don't. There's no etiquette apparently online in this regard, because people jump into those matches like as fast as possible. Like, it's almost impossible for me sometimes to get into a match, and I have to start kicking people out because I can watch the same two people fight 4 times in a row before I
Mm-hmm.
can get a chance to ban one of them so I can play, or somebody else can play, or somebody can go down to the bottom and spectate. It's absolutely ridiculous. I don't know why they couldn't do the simple things that almost standard online lobbies do, where they have a rotation for fighters. Winner stays. The next person comes up on the list.
Mm-hmm.
Basic as fuck. Why can't you do that? No, they have to go and do this honor code system, and it doesn't work. I mean, it's almost like they're trying to emulate. Okay, I'm putting my quarter down. I'm next, and then you trying to honor that. Doesn't work in here because people are just bum rushing those place slots as fast as possible. And while I'm on top of that, the chat. I mean, I'm gonna put it like this. There's one cool thing that I like so far when you do get to spectate, and that's the ability to do sound effects. Like, you hold the D-pad in a certain direction, and you're given 4 unique commands. Like, you can bang like Japanese drums or blow the flute. You can
Mm-hmm.
have cheering. You can boo. You can do all kinds of weird and kooky stuff, and it's actually a lot of fun to add that extra element to the match, which is kind of
Mm-hmm.
fun, unique, and whatnot. Um, and then the match starts, and then you realize right away the biggest hindrance to this thing is the game's netcode. I've had some decent matches here and there, and this is a game that runs beautifully at 60 frames a second. It
Mm-hmm.
drops to 30 frames a second for whatever constantly online, just so the netcode can keep up. Um, I've actually played with friends who are local, who we just can't get together or whatever to play offline. But I have friends that just live maybe several miles away, and we have like maybe an ass connection to each other, and we both have great like internet connections. So we're having input issues where either it's not being read or it's coming out too late, and therefore
Mm-hmm.
the wrong move is coming out. It's absolutely like horrendous, and this is shocking considering the fact that King of Fighters 13 to me had one of the best netcodes I've ever experienced for a fighting game. Not 14, which I mean I haven't played much of that online, so I can't really comment on it. But 13 had amazing netcode. So it's really shocking to me that they would have this horrendous lobby setup and this horrible netcode to go alongside it, and it just boggles my mind. Now, with me saying that just before the show started, on Twitter, SNK Playmore announced that they have a community manager now to talk to the United States players. And one of the things he's going to do is apparently relay what to the team. And I was polite and said, "Hey, can you please fix these issues and that I just talked to you guys about, minus the netcode, because I feel like even with the crappy netcode, I can at least enjoy some bullshitting with some friends in a working lobby system, but not this clusterfuck that they gave us." So, I mean, it's not that hard, and I hope, a lot of people have complained about it, and it's going to be fixed. I hope it is. I mean, I don't really get to see many fighting games get online overhauls before, so I'll be shocked if they actually go through with it. Other than that, I think I might actually end up stop playing casuals and just stick to rank, because I just don't want to deal with that headache. So that's about it. For hindsight, I mean, how about we compare other fighting game netcodes, like DOA 6 online? They have a decent netcode, to be truthfully honest, for PC anyway. I haven't played it on the PS4. What do you think, Jan?
I mean, PC seemed fine for me. I haven't played it on console either. I think that there's a distinct divide here, because the reason why Sam Show released as early as it did for Xbox PS4 was purely because of Evo. The concept or the idea that people would be taking it online seriously is pretty low right now, and I think it was kind of low on their totem pole to really try to make sure that it worked. I think what they did is they put this bare bones system into the game specifically so that it have some form of online for it, because that was a thing that had to happen, because we live in that day and age where not everyone gets a chance to actually go to locals all the time anymore. It happens. But I mean, I don't know that. I mean, not to discredit or to state that your gripes aren't legitimate, because they are. Obviously, the netcode is kind of poop, and the lobby system's kind of whack as fuck. We're not really sure why it is what it is, but I feel like there's a good possibility that a lot of these issues will be fixed once they release the additional versions of the game, once Evo is done, and they have a chance to really take a lot of the feedback from the players and the people at Evo and on Twitter and on social media, to really refine the game for its final release once it actually comes out on PC and I guess Switch, was it? I don't remember what the other ones is. I think it's
I think it's only on Xbox and PS4 at this point.
Right, no, but I'm talking about after Evo, the final releases of the other game systems that it's actually going to be coming out on after Evo is complete. I think, they said sometime in September or October, they're supposed to be releasing the other versions of the game so that people have the ability to play it on the other platforms. Netcode notwithstanding, because we all know that recently there's been a lot of issues with PS4 and especially the Xbox when it comes to any netcode on any fighting game. I mean, harken back to MKX. They had kind of not so good netcode for the first few weeks of the game's release, and then they were able to roll out some patches and some updates to the netcode to overhaul it to make it much, much better, and ended up being relatively decent by the time XL came out, and even so much as so that they took some of the lessons that they learned from X and XL for MK11. And granted, it's MK11 and there's still some issues and it's NetherRealm, so what are you going to do? But the overall netcode changes that they had from Mortal Kombat X was a big factor in how they modified the netcode for 11. Another one that I think was in the last, I don't know, 5 years or so that had the same sort of inconsistencies was when they re-released Street Fighter 3, and they had horrible netcode for like the first 6 months, and then all of a sudden they're like, here's a patch, and they repatched it and they GGPO'd it, and it ended up being way better than is relatively considered to be one of the better netcodes in terms of fighting games right now. So I don't know. I think with the way people still tend to play on Wi-Fi, especially on console, it's a wonder that they haven't tried to build the netcode around wireless players versus wired players. Because we know, as people who have been in, the FGC for a long time, that having a wired connection for, online play is generally the better way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But there are still people to this day who will consistently play, even on PC, on a Wi-Fi connection to play fighting games, which, I mean, like, Soul Calibur 6, I'm looking at you.
It's so hilarious. I'm looking at... I look at... as much crap as I give Dead or Alive 6,
Mm-hmm.
they do something amazingly right with that online system. And that's, they let you know who's using a Wi-Fi or a LAN connection. Like, they actually show the symbols. So it's very easy for me to go through rank and just be like, oh, Wi-Fi connection. Skip,
Pass.
decline.
Well, I know they were doing that with... doesn't 11 do that too? I think it does on PC, where it'll actually show you the netcode. When you actually... Okay, so when you're trying to do ranked matches, not even ranked, single, one-on-one matches, either player or ranked matches, on the PC version, when it loads up the pop-up screen to say, hey, you've got an opponent, it actually shows win-loss, and then right below it, it actually shows either a Wi-Fi symbol or like a PC with like a plug in it. So you know that is actually a wired connection.
Yeah.
So it's like you can approve or decline the match purely based on the fact that you already know that they're on a wired connection from the get-go.
Yep. And I think that's actually pretty brilliant right there. I wish we had that years ago.
Well, I think my biggest issue is like there's little things that everyone seems to keep changing when they release their games, like the idea that when you're at character select, you can hit a button and it brings up your ability to actually change your controls on the screen, and then you can hit start and it actually lets you like move your stick and hit your buttons on the screen, so you don't have to go into a button check.
Oh,
like,
I love stuff like that.
The fact that more and more games are starting to have the ability for you to button check without actually going into a match, taking an extra 5 minutes to button check, and then backing out to actually pick your characters and play the match. Having that available, that's huge. Having the ability to know whether or not you're playing against somebody on Wi-Fi or a wired connection, that's a huge thing. Like, netcode in general has, like, online play in general, I should say, has drastically changed over the last 5 years, 4 years even. Like, just the last 5 or 6 major releases, we've seen huge steps forward in a lot of what we're seeing, but we're also seeing huge steps backwards every single time. So it's like people just can't quite seem to get on the same page as, this is the netcode that works, this is the netcode that's absolutely fucking terrible, and I don't know why you have rollback, please make that die. And it's like, if you want examples of really bad online play and really good online play, Ultimate Marvel 3, Killer Instinct.
I think Killer Instinct has great netcode, to be honest.
Killer Instinct's netcode is probably one of the best. Like, it's heralded. Like, it's just that good. People have known that it's just that good. And it's like, why can't more people use the netcode from KI? Or
yeah, I mean, that netcode
why is that proprietary? That shouldn't be proprietary.
Yeah, that netcode needed to be that damn good for how fast-paced of a game it was, too.
Mm-hmm. And then you've got another game like Ultimate Marvel 3, which has arguably some of the worst netcode that a fighting game has ever seen.
Oh, remember how bad it was the first 2 weeks it came out?
It was awful.
They had to issue an apology, and then they said they would get to work on it right away. I was like, oh my god, that's pathetic. I don't think I had a stable game in those 2 weeks ever upon its release.
Yeah. I think. I mean, this is a huge digression from your original topic of, just bitching about Sam Show, because, like, let's be honest, the game itself plays great. It's just online is kind of why.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it is okay. So this sort of feels like Street Fighter V, in that
An incomplete game.
no,
being
I don't.
rushed
Not
out.
not so much incomplete, but the rush. I think that because they rushed it so quickly, like, they didn't need to. Like, there was no necessarily, like, big reason for them to, like, halt specific pieces of development just so they could release a completed client specifically for consoles for Evo. Well, I think that maybe it could have been pushed a little, or maybe they could have been like, it'll be ready, but we're just releasing this, and then after Evo, we're going to patch in all of this extra stuff. Be ready, because it's going to be a big deal, I think a lot of that was covered up by, if you pre-order by the 30th, you get the whole DLC season pass for free, and it kind of blinded people a little bit. And it was good marketing, please don't get me wrong, because that season pass is going to be really hype. But, like, where's better online? Why did we have to wait for something like online play? Knowing full well that we're going to have a fairly worldwide community of people who have been waiting a very long time for Sam Show to come out again, and then have it not have good netcode. Like, I feel like maybe some marketing decisions that could have been made weren't made, and
At least it's not the Samurai Shodown game that came out on the 360.
I mean,
that was a horrible game, and I don't think it had online at all. So I guess this is a trade-up, but I still don't accept it.
I mean, Sam Show 5 SE has better netcode, saying. So
I can't argue with that. Okay. But yeah, in the end, community manager now for SNK. He's looking to, help move things along, and just as Jan says, probably within the coming weeks they'll have some fixes coming along. Usually the netcode is the first thing that will, be worked on. It usually is, and I'm still hoping that they fix the lobby system, but I don't think it will. Samurai Shodown is a stellar game. I would recommend playing it. It's just really phenomenal, and that's really all I have to say about that. So.